What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to 8 Below, the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. Before we officially get into the show, guys, I wanted to say thank you so much to each and every one of you who are subscribing to the YouTube channel. We recently surpassed 4,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. Look, let's put it this way. We've come a long way since 1,000 subscribers. I mean, it feels like not too long ago when we hit 1,000 subs, and I gotta say, guys, it feels like it was a lot harder to attain 1,000 subs than to get to 4,000 subs. And that's something that, I don't know, it's just a testament to you guys motivating me every single day to continue pushing forward. And that's exactly what we've done. We have over 1,500 videos on the YouTube channel. We've been grinding every single day since the channel started back in 2018. We have grinded every single day. And I gotta say, guys, we are definitely on the pursuit. We are aggressively trying to do this thing on a full-time basis, and we're going to keep going, man. And I absolutely am more motivated than ever, thanks to all of you out there, to just, hitting the subscribe button, liking the videos, giving me the things that I'm doing right, the things I'm doing wrong, and the things that you want to see different moving forward. And that's what I do every day, guys. Doing that, self-reflecting on the things that we're doing right, the things that we're doing wrong, and what we can do better moving forward to make the channel better and better. And I really enjoy and am glad that you guys are liking the content, enjoying it, and there's so much content that you guys still want to see, and there's a lot of content that I still want to make, so let's keep going. Thank you again, though, everyone, for 4,000 subscribers. Now let's get into the show. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Prototype and this franchise, guys, that I absolutely love overall, and I know a lot of you out there also really have enjoyed the Prototype games, and I wanted to talk about the future of this franchise. We've talked about Prototype 3 in the past. You guys can check out all of that YouTube, content here on my channel, but I wanted to talk about, will we see and will there be a Prototype 3? And so I think we have to break it down by a couple of things. We got to look at the past, guys, that being Prototype 1, Prototype 2, to kind of decide whether or not we believe a Prototype 3 will come out. Because I can tell you, there have been petitions, there's been rumblings, talk, speculation that Activision was working on a Prototype 3 at one point or another. So let's talk about it. We can kind of, give our own speculation and thoughts, and I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So all this information, guys, I'm going to be giving you is coming to us from Wikipedia. And Prototype, guys, of course, is a title that came out back in 2009. And it was, of course, developed by Radical Entertainment, published by Activision, which, okay, there you have it. Radical Entertainment, in my opinion, did an incredible job with Prototype 1. I thought it was absolutely incredible. The concepts at the time, guys, it certainly was kind of like very transcendent in my personal opinion when it came to this style game. It kind of took what Infamous was, what they were doing with Infamous on the PlayStation, and, Prototype kind of took it to another level, and I loved it. I loved our main character, that being Alex Mercer. I thought it was a great character, very mysterious, kind of reminded me of, Altair from Assassin's Creed, and just all in all, guys, I loved this title, and I'll tell you, speaking of Assassin's Creed, I actually enjoyed Prototype more than Assassin's Creed, even though Assassin's Creed had more of a realism to it, but Prototype had this, it was almost like Assassin's Creed on steroids, and I absolutely love that concept. Well, really to look at, guys, whether or not a Prototype 3 will come out, there's two things that we always talk about here on the YouTube channel that kind of decipher if there's going to be a continuation of a franchise that's been, dormant, or the IP has been in a limbo state for quite some time. The two things are, number one, obviously, is sales, and number two is the reception around the game. So when we talk about the first game, guys, in this franchise, that being, of course, Prototype 1, we can see that the game received generally favorable reviews on all platforms according to the review aggregation website Metacritic. So Eurogamer gave it a 7 out of 10, pretty good. Game Informer, 7.25 out of 10, that's pretty good as well. Game Revolution C+, GameSpot, 8.5 out of 10. I mean, that's really good. GameZone gave it a 9.4 out of 10 on the PS3, 7.8 on out of 10 on the Xbox 360. IGN, which is one of the biggest, of course, giving it between a 7.5 and 8.5 out of 10, depending on what console you played on. And, you know, PC Gamer gave it 86%. So here's what I'll say. If we look at the reception of the first game, that being Prototype 1, got pretty good reviews, guys. Certainly favorable reviews. And I think that it's certainly, you know, guaranteed ultimately that we were going to get a sequel to this title. Now we get to Prototype 2, which comes out a number of years later, comes out on the Microsoft Windows in 2012, and then comes out on PlayStation, Xbox, that being PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in 2015, but it released in 2012, guys, for the consoles as well as PC, that being Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and then Microsoft Windows. And this is another title, of course, developed by Radical Entertainment. Now, what I am personally going to say, and I've stated this many times, is that Prototype 2 was a significant downturn in my personal opinion. Why do I say that? I'm not going to say that I didn't enjoy our protagonist, that being James Heller. I'm not going to say I didn't like him. I just didn't like him as much as Alex Mercer. I think that Alex Mercer's story was just getting started. I thought it was not the right time to move on from Alex Mercer. I think that they should have stuck with Alex Mercer and at least for a couple more games. Give him, like, you know, even like a trilogy, and then you can move on to someone like, you know, James Heller, a new protagonist, but they didn't. They decided to stick with to, you know, kind of move forward with James Heller instead of Alex Mercer, which I thought was the biggest mistake that Radical Entertainment made here, and I think it cost them this IP, this franchise as a whole. I believe, guys, that it was their decision to move on from Alex Mercer so quickly in this sequel was the downfall of Prototype as we know it. Now, that being said, once again, Prototype 2, what was the reception and how about the sales? So, Prototype 2, once again, received generally favorable reviews on all platforms except the Xbox 360 version, which received average reviews. So we look at that. Eurogamer 7 out of 10. That's not terrible. Game Informer 8.5 out of 10. Once again, pretty good. GameSpot 7.5 out of 10. That'll do it. IGN 7 out of 10. There you have it. PC Gamer gave it 60%, a little bit lower, of course, than the first game, but overall, guys, pretty similar to Prototype 1. And I got to say that, you know, that's okay. You know, I mean, those are good review scores. I would say, sure, this probably is, that's the first, you know, really the second part of it, because the main part is sales. That's what it really comes down to. Well, guys, when we look at the sales, although Prototype 2 was the top seller for April 2012, beating the Kinect, Star Wars, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, its sales were considerably down from the sales of games released in April of 2011. Prototype 2 would continue its strong sales into the month of May, garnering more sales than the highly anticipated Dragon's Dogma, but failing to beat Max Payne 3 and fellow Activision Blizzard game Diablo 3. On June 28th, 2012, Activision announced that despite the substantial investment, the game did not find a broad commercial audience, and as a result, developer Radical would encounter layoffs and the studio would be reduced to a supporting role towards other Activision projects. So there you have it. Here's the key word, guys, or two key words: substantial investment. Activision basically went, I'm not going to say all in, because it was not an all-in scenario, but they put more resources into Prototype 2 than they did into Prototype 1. And the biggest downfall to me, guys, was the fact that they moved on from Alex Mercer so quickly. And you could say that it wasn't because of that. It was other things within, the Xbox 360 version. Lots of people had issues with the game on that. But no, guys. Prototype 2, I believe, would have been much more successful if you continued, Alex Mercer's story. Because all of us who played the first game, we were just starting to kind of warm up to Alex Mercer, and he was like this, character that I really liked from the very beginning, and there was a lot of mystery to him and such. And then you're moving on from him in the second game. It actually got me to not even want to buy the second game. To give you guys, some context here, after Gears of War 3 came out, which was the greatest Gears of War game ever made. We've had, a number of other titles since then, but I believe it was the greatest title ever made. The follow-up to Gears of War 3 was Gears of War Judgment, which to me was the worst of all the Gears of War games. And why was it the worst? Well, there's a number of reasons, but one of the most glaring ones was that they moved on from the main character in Gears of War 3, that being, of course, Marcus Phoenix. And they started, you play as Baird in Gears of War Judgment. They moved on almost. It felt like they were moving on from Marcus Phoenix and those guys. And Baird, which of course was a part of the other, games, it just didn't feel right. And that's a series, guys, of course, with Gears of War. They had 3 games building up to Gears of War 3. So they had 3 games there where you're playing as Marcus Phoenix before they moved on. And it still felt wrong. They gave Alex Mercer 1 game and they moved on. And look, I think that the biggest, reason why I didn't like Heller was because there wasn't so much mystery surrounding the character. Alex Mercer, he's like this hooded figure that you're playing as, kind of that mysterious type of person like Altair in Assassin's Creed. And I gotta say, guys, that I believe that the downfall was when Radical Entertainment made the decision to move on from Alex Mercer. Now, maybe it was Activision partially stated, like, maybe you should move on from Alex. I don't think that they would do that, but I feel like that was more of a creative, decision from Radical Entertainment, and I believe that spelled the downfall. The other part of it, guys, is, look, this is a single-player story. They didn't create more outside of the single player story. They didn't have no multiplayer, no co-op modes. So when you're putting all your eggs into just a single player story, you can't move on from your main character that started this whole entire, IP to begin with, that being Alex Mercer. So will there be a Prototype 3? Guys, I hope so, but it doesn't look too great. It looks pretty grim because Radical Entertainment no longer is even, working on Prototype. I don't think Activision's going to invest the money necessary to, of course, make a Prototype 3. Could they do a soft reboot with Alex Mercer or something of that nature? Absolutely, and I think they should not put as much investment into it. Maybe, create a story and, but add multiplayer and co-op and such, and I think that would really draw a lot of people in. And, just don't make it quite as heavy of an investment as they did with Prototype 2 for just a single player story. Spread the wealth, spread the money around between multiplayer, campaign and co-op. But it doesn't look too good, guys. It doesn't look too good. If I had to, I'm not a betting man, but if I had to, say whether or not, if I had to bet on it, I would say we will not get a Prototype 3. However, it really comes down to the community. It comes down to us, guys, what we want. And we have to voice our opinion to Activision, stating that we want to see a continuation of this franchise moving forward. It's similar to other games that we talk about here on the YouTube channel, Dead Space, and a number of others, guys, that we want to see a continuation of. And could we? Absolutely. You can never say never. Will Activision sell the IP? Maybe they'll do that. Who knows? I would love to see them maybe sell it to someone else and someone else kind of takes the helm there. I think it's a title that definitely has possibility and potential. Nonetheless, I don't know if we're ever going to see a Prototype 3 though, guys. But it's up to us as a community to really rally around it and try to get Activision to make it if that's what we choose to do. And with that, I want to pass it on to all of you. Will there be a Prototype 3? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Prototype 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Fallout 5 and of course, guys, the Fallout franchise as a whole, where we stand and where we could be going. And I want to talk about, will we see Fallout 5? This is something that many of us who have loved the Fallout series over time, even though there's been bumps along the road, to say the least, I think that we're all hoping, anticipating a Fallout 5 to come out at some point or another. So let's talk about it. Let's just answer the question, guys, and you're going to begin my thoughts here. I would love to hear yours in the comment section down below. Will we see a Fallout 5? Yes. Yes, we will, guys, and I'll tell you why. Fallout as a series, you know, this dates back to 1997 when we got the first Fallout. And I've got to say, like, over the years, guys, between Fallout 2 to Fallout 3, I mean, you're talking 98 is when Fallout 2 came out, and then all the way to 2008, so 10 years later, we got Fallout 3. And Fallout 3, guys, is arguably the best Fallout ever made. And, of course, you know, me being, I mean, I'm a fan of just gaming as a whole, guys. Fallout is one of those titles that it reminds me a lot of pretty much every other franchise out there that has peaks and valleys, right? There's, you know, some games are really great, then other ones aren't so good, and then there's, you know, ones that are, you know, best, some of the best ever made, and then others that are some of the worst ever made. There's such a huge swing with the Fallout franchise. From Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas, I thought Fallout New Vegas had some interesting concepts, but overall, it just didn't really resonate well with me. Now, I know other people, even my brother included, absolutely loved New Vegas, but it wasn't until Fallout 4 where I felt, okay, they're really building something special here with the Fallout franchise. Now, what have we got lately? We got Fallout 76, which was the multiplayer side. It was kind of going to be like the Fallout Online aspect of Fallout. And it really got it kind of fell really hard on its face. It just was just overall, people were very critical of it. I was not a fan whatsoever. I'm not as big of a fan as to Fallout as some people. Obviously, guys, there's, you know, some people who are massive fans of this franchise. I've been critical of some of the games in this franchise, like New Vegas. 76 was absolutely awful, which obviously was the worst. But Fallout 4, I thought, you know, there were some interesting concepts. I even thought that Fallout Shelter had some interesting concepts to it as well. It was just kind of an interesting, kind of just fun game to play. And Fallout 4 certainly, to me, had some very interesting concepts as well. But where does that leave us after 76? Where does that leave us with getting a Fallout 5? Well, we know one thing. Bethesda is certainly working on a lot. I mean, to say the least. I mean, they're working on Starfield. Who knows what they're working, you know, cooking up with the Doom games or the continuation of the DLC and things of that nature with Doom Eternal. You know, so you got Starfield. You've got Elder Scrolls 6, which is probably the next up-and-comer, I would assume. We also know Bethesda got bought out by Microsoft. Microsoft bought them. And so that's absolutely huge. I mean, we're talking, you know, Xbox exclusives now, that being, you know, for Fallout moving forward, for Elder Scrolls moving forward, Starfield, all these titles, guys, Prey, Dishonored, so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. So what does that mean? You know, overall here, what does it mean for Fallout 5? There is no way that Bethesda and Microsoft aren't cooking up a new Fallout. I mean, Microsoft just bought Bethesda, and they're probably thinking to themselves, okay, we need to greenlight not one, not two, maybe not even, you know, I mean, we need to greenlight a bunch of Fallout stuff, because this is a title that has a very passionate fan base that wants to see a continuation. So I would assume, guys, that we're going to get a number of more Fallout games in the future. Especially now with Microsoft buying out Bethesda. When will we see Fallout 5, though? I believe, guys, that we're going to probably get an announcement next year, maybe in 2 years, but I'm anticipating 2021. And I would say that we're still probably going to be years away, though, from Fallout 5 actually hitting store shelves and for us to actually be able to sit down and play the game. because with Elder Scrolls 6 is probably going to be the next game. Starfield will probably be somewhere around there. And who knows what else they're kind of working on. But what I'm getting at is that they're going to try to make sure that each of their games is kind of spread out a little bit, so that they're not all like, kind of getting bunched up and things of that nature. So I'm saying Elder Scrolls is probably next. Starfield might be after that because Starfield's obviously already been announced. And Fallout 5 will probably get an announcement, but it'll probably still be a few years away. So what can we take from that? Fallout 76, guys, it obviously came out in 2018. So typically speaking, we are seeing, so from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4, you had, between 2008 to 2015. Now, if you really wanted to, you could go from Fallout 3 to Fallout New Vegas, which was 2010. That's only 2 years. So you're talking anywhere between 2 to 5 years, typically speaking, between Fallout games. Like I said, Fallout 4 was 2015, Fallout 76, 2018, so 3 years. So we're in 2020 right now. So my thought is that we're probably not going to see Fallout 5 probably for, I would say between 76, I would say probably 5 years, right? So it's still a couple years away, right? It just is. It's probably a few years away realistically because of the slate of games that Bethesda is working on. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm okay with them taking their time to make a new Fallout. Make it right. Make it well, put it together in a way that is going to show a ton of respect to the Fallout franchise and what they've built, because I feel like Fallout 76 did not do it justice at all. I feel that Fallout New Vegas had some interesting concepts, but I just didn't like it that much personally. And I know some of you out there really enjoyed New Vegas, but I just think get back to what made it so special in Fallout 3 and then Fallout 4. Get back to that kind of feeling. And, I think that there's so much to be explored here. There's so much that they could do with this upcoming title. Look, I'm very bullish on Bethesda long term. People are saying, oh, they're kind of turning into the next Blizzard or something. No. They still got it, guys. There's going to be bumps along the road. Whether you're talking from microtransactions to, to stories, to, multiplayer experiences, to co-op experiences, there's going to be bumps along the road. Fallout 76 was a step in the very wrong direction. But that happened with Call of Duty, one of the biggest franchises, if not the biggest franchise of all time, right? We had 3 games in a row, Advanced Warfare, Black Ops 3, and Infinite Warfare, where it totally went away from what made COD so great. Boots on the ground, gritty feel, to jetpacks, running on walls, like a Titanfall-esque type of game. And now look at where we are. After Infinite Warfare, you get World War II, Black Ops 4, and Modern Warfare, and now Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. All boots on the ground, back to that gritty feel of Call of Duty, and it's back to the races. It is exceeding expectations, guys, with Call of Duty Warzone and such. They have continued to evolve even when they've made mistakes in the past. And I think that the same can be said here, hopefully, for Fallout and with Bethesda working on Fallout 5. But let me know, guys, will we see Fallout 5? You heard one man's thoughts. I want to hear yours in the comment section down below. And for more Fallout 5 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Mortal Kombat 11 is, in my personal opinion, this is just me personally, guys, my favorite fighting game of all time. Absolutely love Mortal Kombat 11. I personally believe that NetherRealm Studios, Warner Brothers Interactive, have absolutely knocked it out of the park. They did such a good job, in my personal opinion, with Mortal Kombat 11. Now, obviously, guys, some of you will agree, some of you will disagree that it's the best Mortal Kombat game, which I believe it's the best Mortal Kombat game by a long mile, but I also believe it's the best fighting game I've ever played. I just really enjoy it. Sure, I'm not going to take anything away from Street Fighter, from, Dead or Alive, from, Smash, of course, and, the list goes on and on. There are a ton of great fighting games, but for me personally, with my style, of how I play, the different combos, the great, executions and endings to some of the fights and such. It's just a really great, mature, fun fighting game. And so for me, it's the best Mortal Kombat game, and it's not even close, but it's also the best fighting game I've ever played. And so with that, I have very high expectations for the future of Mortal Kombat. So with that being said, guys, I want to talk about Mortal Kombat 12, which we've talked about here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that content about Mortal Kombat 12. But I want to talk about everything that we want now when it comes to Mortal Kombat 12. How can NetherRealm Studios, how can they raise the bar again for Mortal Kombat with Mortal Kombat 12? Because let me tell you guys, it's going to be very, very difficult. Especially because of, it's not so much even how you start, it's how you finish when it comes to, the shelf life of a game. And NetherRealm has done such a good job. Even when Mortal Kombat 11 first came out, they did a great job, but overall, over time, they're adding content, adding characters, adding things to Mortal Kombat 11 that have made it such a great experience just over the stretch of time of its shelf life. So with Mortal Kombat 12, guys, the way in which they are, the things that I want out of this game. And when I say we, guys, I'll be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below, whether you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. For me, when it comes to these fighting games, I think that there's ways in which that you can, of course, evolve it over time. I believe that what NetherRealm has to do is continue to innovate the Mortal Kombat series. And by doing so, when you start and you bring out Mortal Kombat 12, you've got a huge slate of different characters, arenas, and things of that nature. But I think what you have to do over time with Mortal Kombat 12 is even elaborate even more so on the characters and the playable characters and such within the game and the arenas that you're playing in. I think having those things is going to be so important moving forward. Having existing characters, of course, from Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 11 and the previous entries, but also new characters. Having those new characters, the new enemies that you fight against, of course, in campaign, new arenas that you play in, new executions. All of those things are going to be very important moving into Mortal Kombat 12 because people are going to be looking for any which way. When it comes down to, you can kind of be very nitpicky about the things that you want, the things that, that they didn't add or, to Mortal Kombat 12 that they have in Mortal Kombat 11. There has to be a real distinguished reason to move from Mortal Kombat 11 to 12. And so I think the next thing for me, guys, is with the campaign, making it an even longer campaign, making it, something in which, I know this is going to sound very interesting, but I would almost want to see, the campaign go in a direction where it's not just, characters fighting the entire campaign. Obviously, you have great cinematics and things of that nature, and we understand that it's all about that. But having some exploration would be really interesting too. A way in which you could explore. A way in which, kind of like, Ninja Gaiden, and in games like that, where there's like places where you can explore and there's more to it than just fighting against, your opponent, your one-on-one opponents throughout the course of the campaign. And I understand it's kind of a way that you can get used to some of the combos and things of that nature before moving on to the multiplayer, but I think it's a great way in which to do a little bit of some exploration, kind of dive in, learn more about this franchise, about the story, the lore, the legacy that they're trying to build here with Mortal Kombat, and it would just expand upon that. Think of God of War, guys. God of War had a specific way and style of which the gameplay mechanics were, but then they changed it, which a lot of people were very, skeptical about the new God of War that came out and how they were doing that. And when it came out, the rest is history, guys. Winning, so many awards, guys. People absolutely loved the change of, how, the mechanics and all of those things. They changed it, but they actually made it better. And so with Mortal Kombat, this has been a long withstanding series, and it would be easy for them to just copy and paste things, like they've done in some of the entries of the Mortal Kombat franchise. But I think that if you evolve it in ways, you are going to really start opening up to other, building the fan base even more so over time. So with the campaign, I think that would be absolutely awesome. Now, when it comes to, multiplayer, I would love to see more of an emphasis on 2v2, 3v3 types of fights, types of styles, different types of maps where you could have those types of battles. I think that would be absolutely incredible. Sure, the way you would think of it in your mind is it's probably way too chaotic, but at the same time, I believe that there's a perfect, you could have a perfect balance of it, guys, and done right, it could be something really special. And so I think Mortal Kombat needs to continue, raising the bar, like I said, at least trying new things. Not everything, not everything is going to land perfectly when it comes to a fighting game like this. Think of games like Madden and NBA 2K. Those are pretty much a copy and paste every single year. They might add some new plays in Madden. They may add, some better graphics and things of that nature, but it's pretty much copy and paste almost every year. With Mortal Kombat, I want this to, sure, I want there to be those similarities. Obviously, I want it to feel like a Mortal Kombat game, but I also want there to be differences, new ways you can connect with the franchise moving forward. And I think that would be one of the best ways, playing co-op with your friends, playing in a setting where it's 2v2, 3v3, things of that nature, having new combos, having, of course, I would assume that they're going to add new executions and such. There's a lot of ways that, of course, make it easy for NetherRealm to just kind of copy and paste from one game to the next. But I think it's those companies and developers that take the next step to really evolve a franchise moving forward. We see what Call of Duty's doing every single year. Sure, a lot of it might feel like a copy and paste, but they're new maps. They've got new weapons. You've got Warzone now, which is a battle royale, which is brand new. Things like that. I'm not saying Mortal Kombat should have a battle royale, but I'm just saying that new ways that you can connect with the franchise moving forward. So, so all of those things to me are incredibly important. Next for me, though, guys, is free to play. Mortal Kombat 12 I believe this franchise would do so incredibly well if they had free to play elements to it. I'm not saying the whole game's free, but I'm saying if you make multiplayer free, you're going to have a lot of people at least try it. And you might get some people hooked on it like I got hooked on Mortal Kombat 11. This was the first Mortal Kombat I really got hooked on. And if you make it free to play, you're going to see a lot of people at least give it a try. Similar to what Halo is doing with Halo Infinite multiplayer. That's being free to play. Call of Duty Warzone is free. So on and so forth, guys. I think free to play is the future of gaming. Sure, the entire package, if you want the whole package for Mortal Kombat, sure, you're going to have to pay the $60 price tag for campaign co-op and things of that nature. But having free to play elements to it, I think could go a really long way with this franchise. And so, I'm hoping that there are at least some free-to-play elements. I would love to see, multiplayer free, because that's what is going to bring people back. Having earnable items over payable items. What do I mean by that? I want to have more ways, guys, that when you're playing the multiplayer, you have earnable items and you can see what other people are earning. And that gets you to want to keep playing to get better. Some really cool earnable items. Payable items are fine too, guys. Having microtransactions, especially if it's a free-to-play multiplayer experience, it's fine to have microtransactions, but make sure that the earnable items are better than that of the payable items. And that leads me to customization. I want to see us be able to customize our characters in a massive way, guys. That would be absolutely awesome. Having character customization, being able to have, earn different things throughout the course of the multiplayer and through the course of the journey, that you're able to, customize your characters. I think that would be absolutely amazing. I just do. And so, all in all, guys, there are so many different ways. I think that, sure, it'd be just easy for NetherRealm to kind of do copy and paste overall to Mortal Kombat 12. But I believe this could really take them to another level with Mortal Kombat, 12, from 11 to 12. My last thing I'm going to say, one of the things I want, is in regard to the esports scene. So, obviously, guys, Mortal Kombat has a very dedicated esports scene, but a lot of tournaments and tournament hosts don't want to put Mortal Kombat on their slate because of how gory it is. Unless NetherRealm and Warner Brothers Interactive want to do their own tournaments completely, like that they stream on their Twitch and things of that nature, they don't even want to have it, featured at EVO or somewhere else. If you want to be featured at those, I really think they need to tone down, like have a feature where the gore is turned down somewhat in the esports scene. And you might say, well, that's taken away from the experience. Well, at the same time, guys, the more of an audience that's able to watch Mortal Kombat, it's a very mature game. But if from an esports perspective, the more eyeballs you're getting, the more support that the esports scene is going to get from sponsors to, just people who want to advertise from Mortal Kombat and from that, that esports scene. So if they're able to tone down on the gore somewhat, because you can watch other streamers, you can watch, even other tournaments that come out at other points, just the official tournaments, the biggest ones are the ones that are toned down on the gore so that everybody can watch it. As a kid growing up, my parents would never let me watch Mortal Kombat, whatsoever, play it or anything because of how gory it is. And so being able to watch it as a kid growing up from an esports perspective, seeing the pros doing it might be a really good move moving forward. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. And all of these things that I just went over, let me know in the comment section down below. What are the things that you want to see in Mortal Kombat 12? Let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Mortal Kombat 12 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on the recent report that came out, guys, about Hex acquiring Optic Gaming from Immortals. And this is a huge story, guys, that has been talked about for a while now within the community. I wanted to talk about it here in this segment of the show. So let's get into it. So an article, guys, written by Jacob Hale of Dexerto, Hector Hex Rodriguez has reportedly acquired Optic Gaming in a deal separate from his ties with Energy Esports, where he currently serves as co-CEO. The deal reportedly sees Hex set to occupy the Los Angeles Call of Duty League team spot held by Optic Gaming, an organization he created and built before its sale in June of 2019, in which Immortals Gaming Club acquired Optic parent company Infinite in a deal valued at around $100 million. Now the question is how much did Hex actually pay to reacquire? Because, I mean, if you're talking somewhere even in the ballpark of $100 million, that would be absolutely wild. According to Esports Observer, the acquisition is still pending league approval, and Hex himself intends to divest to interested esports organizations. This is likely a compulsory step due to ownership rules of the CDL preventing Hex having ownership in more than one team in the league. So basically, guys, he's going to go ahead and sell the Call of Duty League spot that the Los Angeles Optic holds at this point in the CDL, and then what he's going to do is own Optic and the brand and such, which is very interesting because you kind of wonder, is he going to leave Energy? Part of me thinks he might very well leave Energy and just run Optic once again. As the report says, sources close to the deal have come forward stating that after negotiations spanning a little over a month, Rodriguez purchased the Optic Gaming IP in its entirety. This would mean that Hex owns every asset and resource under the Optic Gaming umbrella, and that negotiations likely started taking place around the time of the Call of Duty League Championship in late August. His ties with Chicago Huntsmen are expected to remain intact, so where the CDL spot occupied by Optic Gaming Los Angeles goes remains to be seen, though Commissioner Joanna Ferries has recently insisted that there is a great demand for expansion slots, so one lucky team might just get their wish. Now, a lot of people are saying that it's Nadeshot with 100 Thieves. Naturally, fans want to see the likes of Nadeshot and his 100 Thieves organization find his way back into the Call of Duty League, but after his decision not to buy in at the start of its inaugural year, it's impossible to speculate whether he would have had a change of heart since then. I gotta say, I think he might. Because I'm sure Hector would give Nadeshot a pretty good deal on that Call of Duty League spot because they're friends, right? They've been very close for a number of years. And so here, all in all, what does this mean, guys? Well, this means that I believe now that Optic is back home where it rightfully, is supposed to be, Hex is going to take the helm in Optic Gaming once again, and is probably going to put the Chicago Huntsmen into that umbrella of organization, that being this, into Optic Gaming. and is going to bring this team back in a massive way. I believe that he will leave NRG. Nothing wrong with NRG, guys, but now that he bought Optic back, I mean, that's so huge. I mean, it's so huge. Now, how much he paid to get the gaming Optic Gaming IP in its entirety is hard to say how much it cost. But maybe Immortals didn't make enough money off of it, which because they paid $100 million back in 2019. I would assume that they at least want to make their money back. Maybe they feel like they're not making the money back or whatever the case might be, so they just kind of sold it to Hector a lot cheaper. It's hard to say, but I think that this whole story, everything that happened with Optic, going to Infinite, going to Immortals, so on and so forth, it kind of goes full circle now. The headaches that happened with Optic and all of those different things, it's kind of going full circle. Hector gets to buy back his old team, and there you have it. Now they're going to probably be back off to the races once again, and that's a very exciting thing. Optic just wasn't the same without Hector there. It's his team, and it's been very weird not seeing that. But I do believe now, having Optic back, it's going to be awesome. It is absolutely going to be something to really witness, guys, for the future. I can't wait to see what his plans are with Optic and to see what he does with NRG and all of those other things. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below. What does this mean for Optic Gaming, that CDL spot? Do you think it's going to Nadeshot? Because I do believe it's going to go to Nadeshot, guys. I think he's coming back. I think he's going to bring, be that LA team, the 100 Thieves LA team or whatever. LA 100 Thieves, whatever it's called. That's what this CDL spot's going to be. It's going to be something special to witness, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And for more Call of Duty League content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of the 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.